Hey, footy fans, time for more footy fun with Footy Fin, and I want to preview the Wallabies playing Scotland on Sunday in Edinburgh. So, of course, the Wallabies are causing a bit of excitement in the rugby world at the moment, given the turnaround they've had compared to about 13 months ago in their dismal Rugby World Cup exit at the pool match stages and their rather ordinary Rugby Championship where they only won one from six and finished bottom of that championship table. So, of course, they've had wins over England and Wales with a thrilling brand of rugby in the past two weekends. So everyone's excited. But as I've said, and other Wallabies supporters on here have said, let's not get too carried away, okay? It's just two games. But look, this is going to be a cracker of a match, I reckon. Before this tour began, I was already thinking that of the four tests that the Wallabies have against the home nation, Scotland is the team who are probably as similar. It would be the best matchup, the closest contest, shall we say, is what I would have predicted. Didn't predict the win over England. So anyway, this is quite a crucial match in some ways, obviously to maintain momentum, to maintain a hope of that Grand Slam win over the four home nations. It hasn't been done since 1984. That's the only time a Wallabies team has ever done it. But also, importantly, in the context of World Rugby rankings, the Wallabies are currently on. Oh God, I should have done my homework. I believe they're it's Scotland, England, Wallabies, and that's either 678 or 567. I should know that, shouldn't I? Anyway, long story short, if the Wallabies can beat Scotland, they should, and particularly if they could also beat Ireland, which is by no means guaranteed, they should leapfrog both Scotland and England in the world rankings. But anyway, that's only a little bit of added motivation. So look, I want to run over the teams, give a bit of a preview. Please let me know what you think. Please give the video a like if you like it, and even if you're sitting on the fence, hit the thumbs up anyway. But yeah, look, let's run through the Wallabies. There are a couple of changes here that I'll go through. A couple of them are interesting too. So starting at the back, Tom Wright, Andrew Callaway and Harry Potter on the wing makes his debut for the Wallabies. By the way, this year it feels like every second test Joe Schmidt is blooding and debuting a new winger. Is that just me? But anyway, young Harry Potter, of course, has been much made of that name. I'm not going to go into that here. Good luck to him. In the centres, going back to the centre pairing Joe Schmidt went with against England, Ikitau at 12 and Sua'ali'i at 13, after Sua'ali'i was on the bench last week and Ikitau played at 13. In the halves, Schmidt continues his rotation policy, so it looks like what he's doing at the moment, back into the Rugby Championship in this tour, is playing White one week at starting scrum half, Gordon the other week, and Tate McDermott being used as an impact player off the bench for those sniping runs and a bit of energy and pace. There are probably more finer, subtle details that Schmidt's got in mind in relation to game plan there. But anyway, Gordon and Lolosio in the halves. Lolosio has started to show, particularly against Wales, a bit of confidence, repaying the faith that Schmidt has showed in him, and that a couple of years ago Dave Rennie showed in him before Eddie Jones came in for a year and just shafted almost everyone. So let's hope Lolosio can continue to build confidence. Now, up front, starting at the back of the scrum, Harry Wilson returns as captain and number 8 after being out following a head knock last week. Rob Valentini then therefore goes back to blindside breakaway, and at openside breakaway in comes Carlo Tizzano for only his 5th test. So this is a rotation policy. I've read it's Joe Schmidt is basically resting Fraser McWright. It's nothing to do with form. Obviously, he's looking ahead to just a 6-day turnaround until they face Ireland in Dublin. So with that in mind, Tizano comes in and Mick Wright has a rest this week. He's not even on the bench. Bit of an interesting call. Tizano, of course, is quite a tackling machine. Bit of a different player to Mick Wright, maybe a bit less on the ball distribution type side. Haven't seen him kick a 40-20 as I have, that's a rugby league term, 40-22, as I have Mick Wright. But Tizano should do well. In the second row, they've got Williams back in place of Frost, so rotation there, and Will Skelton stays. Some rotation going on. The front row stays the same as last week. Angus Bell, Matt Fassler, and Ellen Alatoa, who starts but is not captain this week. On the bench, Brendan Painga Hermosa. In comes Isaac Kalia, and Zhang Nongo is also on the bench. In terms of back row cover on the bench, this stays the same for the third consecutive test. Lucan, Salakaya Lotto, and Longy Gleeson. And then the backs reserves are as they were against England: Tate McDermott, Ben Donaldson, and Max Jorgensen. Potter coming in for Jorgensen there. Dylan Peach, of course, is injured. Interesting times. A couple of interesting changes, particularly the Mick Wright one. By the way, I think Teni Alatupo is not injured. I just believe he's not being picked for form or other reasons. Hopefully he might make an appearance against Ireland. And James Slipper has been rested, the veteran prop. In terms of Scotland, obviously I'm a little bit less familiar with each and individual Scottish player than I am with the Wallabies. But interestingly, Sione Tuipulotu is captain for Scotland for the first time in this Autumn Nations series. He is a man of both Samoan and Scottish extraction who was born in Victoria in Australia, and he played with the Melbourne Rebels. I think he spent a bit of time with the Eastern Suburbs Club in Sydney, potentially, and then he qualifies on the basis of having a Scottish grandmother who lives in Australia, incidentally. So big day for him. I think grandma's come over from Australia to Edinburgh to watch this match live. Anyway, starting at the back, Blair Kinghorn, Darcy Graham, Duan van der Merwe, Hugh Jones and Sione Tuipulotu in the centres, Finn Russell and Ben White in the halves. So very strong backline there. Starting at the back of the scrum, Ferguson, Ritchie and Darge. Darge is vice-captain. Second row is Gilchrist and Cummins. Up front, Sherman, Ashman and Ferguson. And on the bench, Richardson, Sutherland, Hurd, Craig, Bayliss, Horn, Jordan and Rowe. So I know that Jack Dempsey, who's another former Wallaby who did captain Scotland in the last Rugby World Cup, he's out injured, and I believe Darcy's out injured. Incidentally, Sione Tuipulotu, Scotland's captain, also played under 20s for Australia. So it'll be an emotional day for him, no doubt. Okay, so who's going to win this one? I think these two teams are very evenly matched. Scotland has beaten the Wallabies, I know, a couple of times at least over the last 14, 15 years, probably 3 or 4 times from memory. Look, this is interesting. I think this is where the Wallabies can really prove and really a win here, regardless of what happens in Dublin, I think would ultimately see this tour be judged a success. They've already done a little better than expected in the first 2 games, but that means nothing if it all falls apart now. So hopefully the Wallabies can maintain that momentum. But look, I don't want to jinx this Wallabies team, so I'm actually, for that reason alone, and home ground advantage, I'm going to tip the Scots to win in a narrow one, margin of less than 4 or 5 points. I hope I'm wrong about that. Anyway, loving these autumn internationals. The All Blacks finish up their tour against Italy this week. The Box face Wales, England face Japan. France beat Argentina last night, etc., etc. Sorry, I don't have some of the Tier 2 fixtures in my head. I did love Georgia v Italy, by the way. Anyhow, until next time, enjoy the autumn internationals, and you might see me in the middle of a rolling mall. Catch ya.